Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's me, Crazyfrankie, and I'd like to welcome you to my Week 6 4 key game picks. Before we talk about Week 6, very quick thoughts on Week number 5. Hopefully, I can get these quick thoughts in a timely manner and as fast as possible here. Now, a lot of things that went on in Week number 5. Obviously, got to give a big congratulations to Drew Brees. He is now the NFL's all-time pass leader, passing Peyton Manning, who had a previous record. Now, Drew Brees stands at number 1 at over 71,000 yards. And going through the many years of Drew Brees playing, I mean, he's really another one of my favorite NFL quarterbacks. This guy is all class, family man, but more importantly, what he's done in the NFL really has changed a lot for not only just for a guy who's just barely 6 feet, but the way he and Sean Payton and that New Orleans Saints have turned that franchise around, getting one Super Bowl in the process, and has really built a winning culture around a franchise. And there's no question he's a sure Hall of Famer, and that's a big congratulations to him. Like I said, he's one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league, and he earns it and deserves a lot of praise and respect. And it's been a joy watching this guy play football. Baker Mayfield getting his first NFL win. It wasn't an easy win. They had to go into overtime. The Browns had to go into overtime in order to beat them. But hopefully now it's a start for that team and that culture that they finally start winning games. Now I know the Ravens technically were supposed to be. They were a much better team and should have beaten them. But keep in mind, the Browns have built a defense now that really can put Mayfield back on the field to give him a chance to win football games. But to be a little bit fair here and all, is that Mayfield still needs a little bit more protection. I mean, they were fortunate enough. I mean, he really can throw the ball fast. But if only they could just get him a little bit more protection in the pocket, I can guarantee you he will be a good quarterback. He does have some wide receivers. Landry's has been the key target for him, and hopefully this Browns team can finally bring some winning culture into that franchise, because that franchise has always been a joke. But hopefully when Mayfield and an offense here, hopefully it finally brings a winning culture to that franchise. Patriots again, dominant again last week. Well, Colts are banged up and everything, so there was no question that last week against the Colts, that was a game they were easily blown out in Indianapolis. And I hate to say it to everybody in the AFC East and maybe to the entire conference itself, the Patriots aren't going anywhere. They're not dead. They're back, and you better find a way to beat them, or they're going back to the Super Bowl. I know it's only week 6, but what I said is true. Unless if you have the formula to beat the Pats, you're not going to stop them. They're healthy again. That was the thing in the game against Jacksonville. The Patriots weren't healthy. They didn't have all their players in. But now that they have everybody back, I don't know if you can stop this team. And of course, the only other two NFL teams undefeated, the Chiefs and the Rams, both at 5-0. But obviously the one that probably got hurt the most was the Rams, even though they're 5-0. But you lose Peters and Coop to concussion protocol. I don't know if they're going to be ready in their next game, if they're going to be ready for their game next week. If you lose both those players, I mean, that's a huge loss to the offense right there. And for Goff to lose 2 targets, that's really going to be a problem. Now, I know they're 5-0, but they better look out. The way Seattle played them, I'll give Pete Carroll and the Seahawks a ton of credit. And I'm going to excuse the Thomas thing with him flipping off the organization. But really right now, the Rams better watch it. They may be 5-0, but if Seattle can stay with them, who's to say that their next meeting in the Coliseum, Seattle can end up going there and upsetting them. So the Rams' security now in the NFC West, I don't think is secure anymore. The Seahawks are in second place, and who's to say they'll catch up to them the way they're playing right now. But anyways, other than that, Packers again. They lost the Packers. I don't know. They're in disarray right now. Rodgers seems unhappy. I don't know why he's unhappy. He's got a big contract. But yet, he doesn't have much players around him. The defense didn't play all that well last week against the Lions. The Lions ended up beating them. And Crosby missing 4 field goals and 2 extra points. So obviously there's something going on in Green Bay that really, despite that comeback in week number 1 for Aaron Rodgers, seems to me that was ancient history, and now they're falling apart. I don't know what's going on in that Packers team, a team that was expected to compete with Minnesota, and the way Minnesota's playing right now, Green Bay should have easily taken over this division, but now they're not. Tough to say what's going on in Green Bay, but there's some issues that they need to resolve, and they need to resolve it fast, or they're going to be falling further behind in the NFC North. Anyways, let's get into my Week 6 picks. All right, let's begin with key game number 1. It is the Thursday night game, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the New York Giants. The Eagles are a 3-point favorite in this one, but the way they played last week against Minnesota, that number should be either 2 or 1. Now, I know a lot of you are telling me why 2 points or 1, the way the Giants played. Look, the Giants started to play like a team last week, even though despite losing to the Panthers. Philadelphia right now has got issues. A day is out for the season. Now they have no running game. Now that's trouble. That's trouble for the Eagles. Now, Wentz last week in the loss against the Vikings, 24-35, 311 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions. But yet, their defense just couldn't stop Minnesota. Now, the Giants last week, Manning, 22 of 36, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, but he was picked off twice in that game against the Panthers last week. You could see both of these teams are evenly matched going into this game. Then, despite the fact the odds makers have the Eagles a 3-point favorite, that number should be 2, maybe even 1. The Giants have an advantage now. Now, Barkley, I don't know. He's questionable for Thursday's game, though, because there was a touchdown he had where he kind of tweaked his leg a little bit here. That, to me, is another question. This is why they're evenly matched. Both teams now are without a running game. Let's see who wins. Now, the game is in the Meadowlands on on Thursday night. Eagles are favored in this one, and I'm going to stick with the Eagles. I think the Eagles get a win here. The Giants need this game more than the Eagles do. Despite the fact that the NFC East right now is wide open, everybody but the Giants are at 2-3. And it's really tough to say now who comes out on top in this division. This division now has gotten more weak. But I'm going with the Eagles here. I think they get the win here to at least even themselves up at 3-3. The Giants right now, without Barkley, Eli has to rely a lot on the pass. And you know that Odell Beckham is gonna get double teamed and double coverage. So there's no question. I like the Eagles in this one, but it's going to be a very good game. It should be a close game all the way for 4 quarters. But I think the Eagles squeak out a victory here, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to pick the Eagles over the Giants. Key game number 2. It is the Chicago Bears versus the Miami Dolphins. It's been a long time since I've had the Bears to talk about, despite the fact that the Bears have been a mess the last few years. But ever since John Gruden goofed and traded their best defensive player, Khalil Mack, to the Bears, that team has changed completely. They are in first place in the NFC North, and this is a chance to distance themselves right now from everybody in that division if they can go to 4-1. Now, they were on a bye week last week, and key stats from week 4 in their huge win over the Buccaneers. Trubisky went 19 of 26, 354 yards, 6 touchdown passes, and no interceptions. Now, this is a game for the Bears right now to really distance himself, and for Trubisky, he really needs to prove himself now. You know, the Dolphins are not a joke. Now, I know that they're still trying to keep pace with the Pats, but I would say for Miami, now talking about the Dolphins here, now for Miami, this is their last chance to keep pace with the Patriots. They know the Patriots are back to 100%. They know they have taken over the division now, and this is their last chance to at least keep pace if they lose this game. Bears are a 3-point favorite in this one. Probably should be 2. But the reason why the odds makers put them at 3 because the Bears have a defense. But when you're playing in very high humid weather, you're going to get tired very easily. Now, Tannehill last week in a big loss to the Bengals last week, 20 of 35, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Dolphins had the lead last week against the Bengals, but then the Bengals came back and they overtook them in the second half when it really looked like the Dolphins had total control in that game. But their defense just did not do a good job at stopping Andy Dalton and the Bengals last week. So now, and the reason why the Bears are a 3-point favorite, even though this game is in Miami. Who do I see winning this game? I'm going with the Chicago Bears here. The Bears will win this game here. Their defense, the way that Khalil Mack has changed the culture of that defense, it'll be a close game. It's going to be close because I don't know how well Trubisky will play in this one because he's a bit shaky at times. He's playing good and he's playing bad one week. But I like the Bears in this one here. It's going to be a close game here. I expect this game to be close. Probably going to be low scoring, but I like the Bears in this one. It's going to be a tough game, but I see them winning this game probably by a field goal. Bears over the Dolphins. Key game number 3, a big one in the AFC North. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Bengals are 2.5-point favorite in this one. And probably going to be 2 points, maybe 1.5 points going into Sunday. Roethlisberger last week for the Steelers, 19 of 29, 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception in a big must-win game they had to have last week over the Falcons. I don't know if this offense is finally back on track because Pittsburgh is a roller coaster. They go up and then they go down. I don't know with this team. Their defense is a big question. That's the reason why. Their offense may be sort of getting back on track, but their defense is still a question. Now, Dalton last week in a big comeback win over the Dolphins, 20 of 30, 248 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. This game is pretty evenly matched, the way both these teams are. Tough to say who comes out this game the winner here. Pittsburgh, if they really want to shut up the critics, this is a game they have to have. Because everybody has criticized this team for their lack of offense and their defense here. Now, Cincinnati, it's very tough to say with this team. Their only bad game they've had, it was against the Ravens back in week number 2. It is a very evenly matched game. It is a tough game to pick here, and it's a big one in the division. But I will say the winner of this game is going to be the Steelers. I think the Steelers are going to Cincinnati if this team can get back on track. This is not a 100% sure pick here because you can go either way with this game because both these teams are evenly matched, and it's tough to say who comes out the victor here. But I'm going to go with the Steelers here. I think they'll come out the winner here, even though I haven't picked the Steelers in quite some time here. But I know I was totally wrong last week in the game with the Falcons, but this time I'm going with the Steelers. I think this is a game they have to have in order to get back on top of the AFC North. And I'm going to go with the Steelers here. Steelers over the Bengals. And finally, key game number 4, the big Sunday night game. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the New England Patriots. Patriots are a 3.5-point favorite in this one, and I think that number should be 2.5, maybe 2 points. The way the Chiefs are playing, the way Patrick Mahomes and that offense is playing, they are just on a roll. And they made a statement last week in a big win over Jacksonville when Jacksonville supposedly had a defense. But the way that offense just shred them apart, this is going to be the real test. The real test is going to be, can you beat the best of the best, the most elite team in the AFC, and that's the New England Patriots. Patrick Mahomes last week, 22 of 38, 313 yards, no touchdown passes, surprisingly. The defense actually did all the work last week, and 2 interceptions. Now, Brady in the big win over the Pats, in the big win for the Pats over the Colts, I should say. 34 of 44, 341 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Now, that stat of 2 interceptions, that's got to be a major key for Kansas City, their defense, to really make a statement to the Pats of saying, your time is up. But the way the Pats the way Brady knows how to pick apart defenses, the reason why I'm going with the New England Patriots here, I'm picking the Patriots here. They know how to beat upstart teams. This Kansas City team and Mahomes, they may have been getting the change in winning ways. But I'm not completely sold on the Chiefs just yet. They need to prove it in the playoffs. Because this franchise lately just doesn't know how to get by their first playoff game. Now, it's only week 6. And a lot of you are probably saying right now, this could be the AFC Championship right here. I don't know about that yet. But just talking about week 6 here. Can this offense keep up? Is this game going to be a shootout? I think it is. This game's going to be a good one. It will be a shootout. And whoever comes out the victor here. But whoever comes out the victor here, no question, This is probably the number one seed on the line here. This could be the number one seed right here, whoever comes out. Now, I know Kansas City is undefeated and the Pats already have 2 losses, but KC has to watch out for games that could be trap games. So it's tough to say right now who comes out the victor in this one here, but I'm going to go with the Patriots here. The Patriots need this game in order to stay on top of the AFC East and to remain at least the number 2 seed in the AFC. It's going to be a close game, no doubt. But I'm going with the Patriots here, the experience that they have, and I don't know, it's going to be big for KC in order to really make another statement here if they want to say that now we're the class of the AFC. I just don't see it in this game. I think they're going to hit a brick wall with the Patriots here. I like the Patriots in this game, and that's why I'm sticking with Patriots over the Chiefs. And that about wraps up my picks for week number 6, everybody. Check out the description below for all of my week 6 picks. And I will see you guys next week when I talk about my picks for week number 7. Take care and enjoy your football week.